Hello, everybody. Mike from Southern California again. It's Monday, March the 9th, 2020, and you're on the mic. So, has Sentai Filmworks sold its soul? Now, you may be wondering why I'm asking that question. Well, as reported by Hero Hei over the weekend, it has come out that there is a ADR scriptwriter at Sentai Filmworks by the name of Holly Shigara, who took it upon herself um, to put the word misogynist in a particular line in the harem anime to Love Ru. Now, this has been an issue more with Funimation over the last few years, as Hirohei has reported on, and a few others reported on, in which we've had scriptwriters at Funimation um, utilizing the translation and localization process to push certain agendas. And when it was discovered that Miss Sagara had put this line in, there was a lot of people who believed that this was happening now at Sentai. And needless to say, there was a lot of people who were very upset about it. Miss Sagara responded by just trying to explain that, sometimes, explaining that the process at times can be difficult when you're trying to match mouth flaps, so, keep track of syllable count. Now, people are saying that, that's kind of a weak excuse. You know, she acknowledged on her Twitter that a lot of people were upset with her for it, because the thing is that apparently part of it is the first thing that came to your mind from going from old fashioned to misogynist for this particular line. Considering that misogynist is considered one of these buzzwords out there, these ist and phobe words that we've been bantering about with cancel culture and all that. You know, most fans, when they watch anime, they don't watch anime to be preached to. They watch anime to escape. And nobody wants to have an agenda push. It's like with everything that's happened over the past year, is the whole thing with the Vic Mignogna situation, some of the maybe underhanded business tactics we've seen from Funimation, and the revelations about the altering of scripts to push certain agendas. There's a lot of divisiveness within the community right now. It's like a lot of now granted, this is more of a problem with Funimation than I think it is with Sentai, because Holly had indicated that well, she that's just the first thing she thought of. There was no real attempt to there's no real attempt to push an agenda on her part. You know, as long as this is a one-time thing, maybe it is a case where she just kind of screwed up this once. I would hope not. If there, as an anime fan myself, I would be very disappointed to find out that Sentai Filmworks is deciding to go down the same path as Funimation. Now, up to this point, based on based on a lot of based on my own research, I had no reason to believe that Sentai was going to go down this road. I looked into it a bit, and just kind of another little preface here. Um, I looked at the VAs and staff who were just with Sentai, who, in other words, people, now Holly Segar, from what I understand, is one of those who is just with Sentai, and I'll explain why all that. But like people like Blake, like Kyle Colby Jones, the Simmons sisters, Tyler Galindo, as a few examples of those who just work for Sentai. That's one group. And then the other group is what I call the double dippers. These are the ones who work for both, who have worked both for Sentai and Funimation. We know that over the years, there have been a number of voice actors and actors. Vic, of course, being one of them. Monica being another. Um, you know, the heirs. I mean, I could list off a whole name of people who started out with ADV, which was a precursor to Sentai, who eventually moved on to Funimation, still work for both companies, and there's quite a number of them. So there's one group that just works just specifically for Sentai, and then there's the other group that's double dipping basically. You know, Now I looked at, of course, the people who are involved in the like. So Holly Segara is the ADR script writer. David Wald, who is the ADR director, who of course most people would probably know as the voice of Gajiel from Fairy Tale, but he also had the lead role of Gogo 13 in Gogo 13. Um, he's the ADR director. You do have some people who work for Funimation involved in the show, include now not all of them are kicked. Now, granted, not all of them are people who I believe would be pushing agendas, or even those who are even kicked back. Okay, yes, Brittany Karbowski, Monica Rial are both, and Marissa Lenti are all involved with To Love Ru, but also so is Alexis Tipton and Brent April, who I don't believe are Kick Vic. And then there are, of course, a bunch of Sentai film actors and actresses, or VAs that are not involved in Kick Vic at all, from everything I've seen. My own personal opinion is, up to this point, based on the evidence I've seen, those who are just exclusive to Sentai have tried to just stay out of the whole thing. They've just more or less tried to stay neutral. None of those who just work for Sentai, up to this point, had not said anything, and there'd been no indication of any kind of agenda push. It's just primarily come from a little cadre that's over at Funimation. Now, granted, over the past few years, you've seen more and more Funimation VA start to work more with Sentai. Don't get me wrong, and I don't necessarily believe that Funimation crew even the ones that started out with ADV or Sentai and went over to Funimation, have as much influence in that company as they do apparently in Funimation. So, of course, when all this came out with Holly, and the possibility that she was using the translation localization process to push an agenda, there were a lot of people who were upset about it. And you know, but then she came out and said, she said that that was not her intent. You know, that just happened to be the first thing that came to mind. Now, I know a lot of people, including Hero Hei, have basically said that they doubt that, you know. But if you notice how fast she responded, once it started coming out, once people started talking about it more, you know, she even for a day um, went private on her Twitter account, where she basically just went private on it. I checked today; she's back to being public. But she hasn't really said anything at all. Not about that. Not about anything since March 7th, since Saturday. Now, and she's probably busy with other things in her life, you know. Um, and I know a lot of people are upset about it because of the word she used and all that. Here's my take on it. Let's keep an eye on it. Let's not jump down hers or anybody else's or anybody at Sentai's throat just yet. Let's see how this plays out because this may just be a one-time thing, or either could be that, or it could be that when she got the backlash for it, maybe somebody higher up told her, "Hey, look, maybe you shouldn't have done that. We don't really want this heat. Fix it," and that's basically what she tried to do. Now, again, I don't know because obviously I haven't talked to her. I haven't talked to any. We only have what we know based off of how she responded from a tweet. Based on everything I've seen, as I've said, I think Sentai, at least those who work exclusively for Sentai, have basically tried to stay out of all this, and I commend them for that because I think most companies would know if you get into this, you're going to split the community. You're going to split it in half. You know, we've seen how SJWs behave. Okay, and I applaud Sentai and those voice actors and voice actresses with them that have just try to stay out of it. Just try to do their job and just be appreciative of their fans and not try to push agendas or anything like that. You know, I would advise Holly in the future to as you're doing the local translating and localization process, I would advise you to to think a little bit more about the words you use, especially in the climate we're in right now. Any possible now let me also explain this too. ADV and Sentai have had a good history of doing like etchy harem animes to where they just simply translate them and let people have fun with them. You know, they haven't gone off the rails and tried to push agendas or anything like that. They just let the story be told. You know, and let the fans of that particular medium um, enjoy the medium. Okay, people just want it translated to where they can understand it, and also, now I think people understand certain aspects of localization. Okay, I think a lot of us would understand certain aspects of, like, if there's a reference to, let's say, a particular public figure, right? So, like, I remember reading about this on the Yu Yu Hakusho DVDs that I have, where there's a note in there about, like, I guess they made a reference to a cyclist who was known as for a Japanese cyclist, but they had to change it because obviously people in America would not know who this Japanese cyclist is. You know, um, let's say in the anime, maybe they make reference to Prime Minister Abe. Well, a lot of anime fans are not going to necessarily know who Prime Minister Abe is. Okay, but they definitely would know who President Trump is or President Obama. You know, so when it's something like that, I think people would understand the localization aspect of it. But if you're going, if if you are considering using the translating and localization process to push an agenda, my advice is don't. Just translate and localize as necessary to get the point across and get the general feel. people will enjoy the work much. People will enjoy the work much more when they're not being preached to, or when they're not being made to feel that there's something wrong with them because you know this or that, or however you may view certain things. So with that, um, I'm gonna move on now. Said my piece on that. But to everybody out there who, I'll say one last thing before I move ahead to the next set of stuff here. Um, as I said earlier, let's just keep an eye on the situation. Hopefully, it was just a one-time thing that she just simply made a mistake on. Because as I said, as an anime fan, I'd be disappointed in Sentai too if they were going down that route. But it may just simply be a one time thing. So let's just keep that in mind, okay? Let's not jump down their throats just yet. And with that, let's move on to some funner things here. Um, let's see. So now on to the next. So on this date, uh, on this date in niche history, March 9th, let's look and see what's all going on this date in niche history. On this date in 1960, Archie Comics released four comics, three of them like milestone issues. Um, they set out on the newsstands The Adventures of Pipsqueak number 38, the 60th issue of Archie's pal Jughead, the 10th issue of Katie Keene Pinup Parade, and the 110th issue of Laugh. So those four titles were set out on the newsstands by Archie Comics. Now moving on here. On this date in 2004, the 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 Japanese anime produced by okay. On this date in 2004, the Japanese anime Hit O Narai debuted on this date in 2004. It was produced by Imagine and Studio Live. Hit or Narai debuted on this date in 2004. And moving further ahead, on this date in 2015, on the episode of Monday Night Raw, Larry Zbyszko was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Larry Zbyszko, of course, a former AWA World Heavyweight Champion, as well as being a former WWF World Tag Team Champion, among other things. Longtime veteran. He was elected into the 2015 class of Hall of Fame on this date in 2015. So with that being said, if you guys want to check the links below, um, my Discord is in there. If you want to check out my Discord, if you want to contact me directly, you can direct message me on Discord. Join if you'd like. Also, I'm still promoting a bunch of different dub companies because Funimation is not the only game in town. And I still have faith that Sentai will ultimately do the right thing by the fans. Remember, this is also the company that helped set up the GoFundMe, for Kyoto Anime, for Kyoto Annie when they had that fire last year. So let's also take that into consideration before we dump on them. Okay. Um, Also, I'm still promoting the GoFundmes for Vic, Vic, and the Ortiz family. As always, guys, never feel like you have to donate. If you have the means to, and it's on your heart to do so, please consider donating. If you've already donated, please consider donating again. And if you cannot donate, you can still help out the cause by by sharing the link. Because sharing's caring. You never know. Maybe somebody in your circle of friends may see it and may decide, yeah, I want to help out too. It doesn't hurt to ask. And if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I always look forward to the conversation with you guys as long as it's, of course, civil and respectful. And I hope you guys will enjoy this video, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.